Welcome back, everybody. This is Shorty with another martial arts rapid review, and today we're going to be looking at American Ninja. It's a Western film, came out in 1985. It was directed by Sam Firstenberg and starring Michael Dudikoff. Can't remember the other guy's name. Judie, Aronson. But anyway, I believe it's like a series of films. I think there's 3 of them, but we're going to be taking a look at the first film. So, it kind of stars a American ninja, pun intended, named Joe Armstrong, or Joe T. Armstrong. Basically, he's a young kid in the army. I believe it's like an island somewhere. They just kind of say it's a jungle. I'm not actually sure where it is. But he's kind of at an army base. He just is like a new recruit, and we find out he doesn't really have a past. He causes he's part of a convoy that's taking some supplies to a different location or something, and some rebels attack along with some ninjas. Now, Joe kind of takes it upon himself to attack back, which gets a couple people killed and him in trouble. So back at the base, he's kind of in hot water. Meanwhile, we find out that the bad guy is trying to sell these stolen goods to make a ton of money, and Joe is basically just trying to figure out, kind of like what the cause is or who the bad guys are. But anyway, there's a little bit of a romance with the general's daughter of the base. I don't remember what her name is. Oh, Patricia. That's what her name is in the film. It doesn't really go anywhere. They kind of flirt and stuff. They have a little date. But anyway, we find out a couple of the people on the base are part of the bad guys. And so they send a couple ninjas to attack. And it's kind of, the middle of the film is a little bit boring. Not much goes on. And the beginning was a little bit interesting. But the ending, again, something about martial art films and endings being like super awesome. But basically wait till the end, because then they have this big kickoff at the base and everybody's fighting everybody. There is another cool character. It's this black guy. I don't remember what his name is, but he kind of becomes buddy with Joe, and it's a really corny film. And I believe if it didn't have some of the cheese in it, it wouldn't actually be quite as good as it was. But let's go ahead and get into the review portion. So as far as the story, I kind of rated it above average. It's a 6. Some parts were interesting, like with the bad guys trying to steal the stolen goods from the military base in order to sell it, and then them also having their own ninja camp where they're like training their own ninja squads and stuff. It was kind of cool in that regard, but very average. The music, typical 80s action film music. There's not really much to expect, so I rated it a 6 as well. It's a little above average. The effects were kind of a letdown. Now, the film is rated R, but there really isn't too much blood or any swearing. I think I heard like one swear word maybe. There's no nudity or anything. And the gore aspects were very minimum or not at all. Like, you can clearly tell when they're fighting or even using swords and stuff and stabbing people. There's no blood. You very rarely see it. I'm not really sure why it got rated R, but who knows. But the effects were kind of poor, so I rated them a 4. The fighting was also kind of subpar. You could clearly tell in many cases where people shouldn't have gotten hit, or they just added sound effects for no reason, the typical 80s schlock stuff. It's enjoyable, but it is still kind of below average, so I had to rate that a 4 as well. That gives us an overall score of about a 5, which is just dead average. On my scale, 1 to 10, 5 is just average. Now, who is this film for? I guess it would be for typical martial arts 80s fans, and it's a very westernized film, which you can tell. And in fact, Joe doesn't actually get in the ninja garb until the last 15 minutes of the film, when he realizes his backstory, because he had amnesia the entire time, so that kind of was setting us up for some kind of reveal with his master and stuff. I'm not going to spoil it, even though there's not much to spoil, but basically, it's just him fighting all the bad guys at the end, doing some cool stuff. I don't know. I mean, I guess go watch it if you want to. I'm going to continue watching the series because it was interesting enough, and the cheese is there. So if you like weird comedy that's kind of out of place but still funny, like this one guy, takes his Jeep and he gets knocked off the road by Joe, and he goes sailing off-road down like a little hill. and he's just screaming like he's about to die or fall off a bridge or something. And we don't see that. What happens is he just goes off the hill, he hits a tree, and then his Jeep just explodes randomly, killing him. So it's very, the comedy kind of, or cheese is just like that. So if you go in with not too much high expectations, you'll probably have a good time. And otherwise, I would say you don't really have to watch this film. I'd give it a pass, but watch it if you like 80s westernized ninja films, I guess. That's kind of specific, I know, but that's what the film is. And yeah, that's what you'll get from watching it.